Years ago, lawmakers tried to take the politics out of prosecuting Texas leaders accused of things like public corruption or bribery. But our investigation with the Texas Observer revealed that since the change, few of those cases led to punishment. As part of the project, I hosted a live roundtable with some of the reporters behind this project, including Texas Observer senior reporter Lisa Olson. She gave insight into why it's difficult to get a case against a public official.
The cases that most often get investigated are the ones that are referred directly by a law enforcement official or a DA. And if they're not referred by a DA, a public integrity investigation under the law can actually go forward until the DA signs off on it. But I ran into people who had tried to bring forward very complicated complaints about public officials they thought were stealing or public officials they thought were committing fraud. And they couldn't get anyone to investigate. In the cases that were investigated, often you had a public official who belonged to the same party as the DA, went to the same, fundraising events as the DA, and maybe was the DA's friend. And so you just had to trust that the DA was going to do the right thing. And that didn't always happen. I mean, in the case I mentioned right away about Ken Paxton, who was indicted in Collin County, that came about because an attorney from a different county contacted the grand jury and said, the DA has never presented information from this public integrity investigation that the Rangers did about Ken Paxton and about how he didn't properly follow the law about state stock rules and disclosing his ownership interests. And then the indictment happened without a DA being involved at all. You also see cases where people are violating the civil rights of other people using their authority as a public official to kind of get away with it. So you see public officials who, for example, one who beat up his wife, she was very seriously injured, could not report to work as a jail nurse. And, he's eventually prosecuted, but for a misdemeanor and not for a felony. Many other people in some of these cases would have been prosecuted for a felony, but because they were a public official, they were prosecuted under another statute. And that's another problem with our whole system is a lot of the laws in Texas that apply to public officials specifically, crimes like official oppression, are misdemeanors often. And so even when there is a crime proven, a DA doesn't want to spend the time that it takes to get what is a misdemeanor conviction.
You can see more of our interview, plus links to our in-depth reporting on this project. Just look for this story right now in the Texas Politics section of our website. Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Josh Hinkle. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.